AI coding assistants are broken. They can write code, sure, but they forget what you told them 5 minutes ago. They lose track of your project and they have zero clue about your documentation or team workflow. Sure, you can use MCP servers like Context7 or others, but you totally rely on external resources which you have not the control, and they don't always have the knowledge you actually need. That's why I want to introduce you to Archon version 2, an open source project built by Cole and the Dynamous community he founded. You can find a link below. That, I think, might be one of the most exciting tools for AI coding assistants this year. By the end of this video, you will see why I believe Archon could become the operating system for AI coding and how you can try it yourself today. So let's get started. In a minute, I spin up Archon, add a real project and show you how an AI assistant can immediately pull in exact documentation it needs, create and track tasks in real time, and collaborate without losing the flow. But before we do this, let's quickly take a look how to set up Archon, install it and run it with Docker. Because it's surprisingly simple. The first thing we need to do is go to the GitHub repository and clone the project. Therefore, we go here on code, copy the URL, go to a directory of your choice. I'm in my YouTube folder. I just click here in the command line, type cmd, then we can just type git clone and the URL, or you just copy it from the task list. It's linked in the description as well. And in my case, it's already there. So let's quickly do additional folder. That was wrong, and do it again, just you can see it from scratch. Okay, we can now list, and we got the Archon folder here. We go into the Archon folder and then we can go on with the next steps. We need to copy the .env file, .example, and configure our own env file. You can do this here with copy.env.example to .env, or you just do it directly in the folder. You can go here, temp, Archon, and you got here the example file. Just Ctrl C to copy it, Ctrl V to paste it, and then you can just rename it. Yes, we want to rename, and then you can just open it in an editor of your choice. So I have it here in Notepad++, and you can see all configurations here. Just change the highlighting here to YAML, and then we have to configure a few things here. So you need a Supabase URL, the Supabase service key, and that's everything you have to set. You can leave everything else as default. If you want, you can dive deeper. For example, if you want to change the ports because they are not free on your system, you can change them here as well, or change the log level, but it's not needed for the first start normally. So you have to grab your keys and the URL from supabase.com if you use the cloud version. If you use the self-hosted version, you got it in your env file. If you don't know about that, check out my other videos where I showed this often enough, I guess, so I don't show it in detail right now. So for supabase.com, you can get it here on project settings, then go to API settings, and then you got here the service key role. You can just reveal it and then copy. I will just do this and come back. Then we have to do it for the URL as well. You can find it here under project settings, data API, and then here's the URL. Just copy it, paste it as URL, and then you got both service key and URL. Save it. And then we can go to the next step, which is building the Docker images and start the stack. Back to our command line, we can now type in docker compose up -d and then -- build, because we have to build the Docker containers first, because that are not pre-built containers you download from the Docker Hub, so we have to build them. You can also copy it from the task list. So as you can see, it's now building the images. This can take a few minutes depending on your system specs. So just wait until it's finished, and then we will see it in our Docker desktop. Starting up, you can see here I have a Archon v2 Alpha, which is the alpha version. and not the beta we just checked out. So we will get a new one here as well. So while this is running, we have to do an additional step in Superbase. We have to create the tables and schemas, and therefore we have to go to the migration folder here in the repository, open it, and then go to complete setup SQL, open this, and then click here copy raw file. So it's now copied. We go back to our Superbase instance, go here to the SQL editor, paste everything in, and just fire it up. It will fail for me because I use here a project which has already the Archon tables, so that's okay, but for you it will create all the tables. We can take a quick look here. So you will get all these Archon tables. I have here another project as well for research and YouTube channels, but you will get all Archon prefixed tables, which will store all your project settings and so on for Archon. And now back to the command line, we see everything built and started. So we can now open, let's quickly go to Docker Desktop. We see here Archon, you can see everything up and running, and we can now open here the front end. So we can click here directly on the front end URL and port, and we are in. You can also type it manually, localhost 3737, and you get the Archon start page. The first thing you should do here is, so you see here a few items in the knowledge base. That's because I already indexed some stuff as said. That's why my Superbase tables were not empty, but for you it will not show anything here. So you go to settings here on the left side and add your OpenAI key here. This is needed for indexing, crawling the knowledge base, items you want. So you have some additional settings here on the bottom, so you can choose OpenAI or Gemini. So if you want to use Gemini, just put in your Google API key here on top instead of OpenAI, or put in both if you want to test out both. And you could also use Ollama. It says here coming soon, but it's working. But I have to say it's not fully tested. You have maybe to do some manual adjustments for the embedding size, but it's basically working. I tested it, but a fully functional version will come in the future. I know someone from the Dynamous community is already working on it with a lot of more features and stuff, and tested all embedding models. So stay tuned for this. I will do an additional video in the future for sure. So you can do some additional settings like contextual embeddings if you want, and can also do the parallel processing here. The max count, I leave it here with 3, and you can here do some other options also for the crawling performance. So there's a batch size, max concurrent, timeouts, and a render delay. I think the default is 0.5. Then there's also storage performance settings, which I would say you can leave everything as default for the beginning, and if you have problems you can adjust it later. So then here's an additional setting for code extraction, because let's quickly go back to the knowledge base and to the existing items. As you can see here for the first one, the Superbase documentation I crawled, you get also here these code examples, which then can be used for your AI assistant. So the format is not pretty good for the Superbase examples at the moment with these lines, but you get how it works. So it just extracts from the crawling the code examples, and they appear here and can be used later to do proper coding for your needs. I would say that's definitely something we need to work on for the official launch. Archon is still in beta and it's a little bit bad, but it can be optimized and improved before we launch the full version. Back to the settings. As said, you can do a few options here. So the minimum length of characters for the code blocks, it extracts the maximum length, and some detection features here as well. They are all toggled on, so you can also play around here a bit and test out what works best for you. So here on the bottom you can also turn on bug reporting, and if you find a bug you can just click here, report bug, and use this form to report the bug you found. So here on the top left we got also a few options. You can switch between light and dark mode. You can toggle the projects on or off. By default everything is on. Projects are here on top. The Archon icon, it's project management, and this is the to-do list I mentioned in the beginning. So the AI assistant can use Archon for the project management. So as you can see here, here's an example for something I built, and Claude in this case used the MCP server of Archon to generate these tasks, and I can manually edit them here as well. That works also live while it is coding, and you see something wrong here, you can just adjust it yourself and the AI coding system will take it. So you can also assign here between user Archon for AI IDE agent, which is then the MCP server. You can also move around the task, as you know, from Jira, Asana or other project management tools. So it's a Kanban board you can work with. You can also see here on top the open to do. So it's 2 tasks, in doing 7, so it's in process and review, and done 0. You can pin projects if you want, and you can also switch to a table view if you want to see more, or if you want to enter tasks yourself fast. So you don't have to rely on the AI coding system to do the tasks, so you can do them yourself. Just put it in, open them, edit them, and write something. So for creating new projects, you can either use the new project here on top and create it yourself, as mentioned, or via the MCP server, the coding IDE can do it completely on its own. So you have to do nothing, you just have to tell your IDE to use Archon for all project management and other stuff. So therefore you can go to the settings again, and you see here the IDE global rules. So you can switch between Claude code rules, so Claude specific rules, or universal agent rules you can use for Cursor, Windsurf, or all other stuff you can find here. So you can see here the directions as well where you have to put them. So you just copy them, and for Claude, for example, you put everything in the claude.md file in your project root. So we can take a quick look at Archon itself, where we can see here the claude.md, where you would put all the rules in. So you could also put them in the global rules, I guess, for your users or in the home directory. So I explained this in this video, so that's also an option. So the last thing we didn't cover yet is the MCP server itself. So it's this icon here on the left side, and then you can see here the configurations for the MCP server and also the logs. So you don't need your Docker desktop, CLI, whatever to see the logs. You can do everything within the UI. You can also start and stop the server. You can see the status, and also very important, you can directly copy the configurations here for the different coding IDEs. So for example, Claude Code, you just copy it and can use this in your Claude Code instance. So this is more for, not sure if this is correct. I think this one is you can use in Claude Desktop, and here the second thing is for using it in Claude Code. So if you are in your terminal, in my case I'm on Windows, so I have to open my WSL with bash, and then you can just do Claude MCP and the rest of it, and this will add it to your MCP server. So you can also check it with Claude MCP list, and then you can see all your configured MCP servers. I have a few: Serena, Context 7. I could remove this now when using fully Archon, and some other stuff. Back to the MCP servers, you can see the global IDE rules here as well. So it's the same as we just saw on the settings page. So you can either copy it from here or from the settings page. So as next step, let's add a new knowledge base. So we go here to the knowledge base, go to knowledge. Then we have a few options. We can choose between technical coding type or business type, so it's just category, doesn't affect, and you can also change it later. And you can also decide between URL or upload a file. Well, at the moment you can really just upload one PDF, MD, doc, whatever, and not a full zip of a local documentation or a folder. But I started an implementation for multi-file upload or zips, which was also working. You can see this here. So I uploaded about 7,000 documents in batch from a zip file. It's not showing here at the moment because we cloned now the official repo and not my development state, but I have implemented here the state to upload a zip. I will show it here in a screenshot. So maybe this comes in the future into Archon and you can use it as well. So for the UL, I also implemented a proof of concept for a little bit more configuration for the URL. So you can use include and exclude patterns or domains. So sometimes you just have a subdomain, you want to stay on this, or at least you want to maybe crawl the whole domain, root domain, but just index a specific subdomain. Maybe you are on the langchain.com domain and find links for python.langchain there. This one you want to index, but not java.langchain, for example. Doesn't make sense in this case, I guess, but you get it. So this is also not in, but you can choose the crawl depth. You get also some description here, what level you should choose for your documentation. You can try it out and see yourself, depends on the documentation. And the most important thing is not just use level 5 because it's the highest and you think it will give the best results. That isn't the case, which is also mentioned here in the caption. Then you can also give here tier AI text if you want, or leave it blank and the AI will do recommended text itself. So we leave it blank, we go here with level 2, add source, and you see it crawls the LangChain documentation. So web crawling first, gets all URLs, 55 as it looks like, and will then start content processing, source creation, and then store the documents in the database. So therefore the embedding model and provider is needed, in my case OpenAI, and as you can see it's now creating the chunks. So as we are only on level 2, it was really fast, and we can now see the LangChain API reference here. So we got 43 documents, and yeah, at the moment it's not possible to click here. That's also a thing I tested out. I did a proof of concept for a document browser similar to code examples, so you can see what's actually indexed. I will insert a short b-roll here so you can see how it could look like if we implement it in the future in the official repository. So for other stuff, it would be really cool if you let me know if these are features you want to see in the official build. So that's also important for the Archon team to decide what to build in and what not. So let's do a simple test and see how Archon works with Claude Code. So I created here a sample application PDF chat app. We will not fully implement it. I just want to show you how to configure it. So I will open the CMD and then quickly open it in Windsurf in my case. This will open the IDE, and we got an empty project. To set up the project, we will use the context engineering hub from Cole, which is also built by the Dynamous community. There's also an official one. I just cloned the internal one from the Dynamous community in this case. But this is not the topic of this video, but you can let me know if you want to see more about this. And also, if you want to join the Dynamous community, you can find a link below to get a 10% discount. So I just copied the PRP templates here. You can see everything here with examples, templates, base, and we also need the Claude code commands. We can also copy from the context engineering hub, and we got the Claude folder now here with the execute PRP command and the generate PRP command. So next step is, in my case, to go to WSL with bash. I'm on Windows. If you're on Linux or Mac, you don't have to do it. Just open your terminal, open Claude. Yes, I allow it. And then we can start implementing our PRP. So in this case, I will use the initial here. You can fill out everything which is mentioned here. There's also an example, but I will keep it short and just remove everything and put a one-liner here. It's just for demonstration, so you can see everything working with Archon. So the next step is go back to Archon and we need to copy the rules file. So we go to settings, Claude code rules, copy rules, go back to our application, new file, claude.md, paste everything in, and we are ready to rumble. So I have to quickly restart. So I Control C out of Claude, restart it. So it loads all the commands as well. And as we can see now, when I type slash, we can see the execute PRP and generate PRP. We start with generate PRP. I press tab and then I just do right click on the initial, copy relative path, paste it here and fire it up. And as we now will see, it will use the Archon MCP server to plan the project. So in my case, I have another MCP server, Serena, which does some stuff. So we see this first to find files, activate a project. So Serena will also create a folder here. So let me quickly do this on the left side and Archon on the right side and open the project management here. And we hopefully will see a new project then here. So let's just remove this one. I don't need this anymore. A quick hint while this is running, because I showed this before, but not again yet. You have to add the MCP server with the command I showed you here in the MCP servers under Claude code, and then the second option here. So copy it, paste it to your bash to open the MCP, to add the MCP server to your project. Otherwise, Archon is not added to your project and it will not use it. So it now finished creating the PRP. So generate PRP and we can now execute it. So this is the new file it created with all the requirements and documentations, references, structure, and so on it will need for implementing the app we want to do. So we got also a confidence score for a one-shot implementation, 9 of 10. And some description why it thinks it's a 9. So let's just fire this up and we should see it creates the task in Archon. Let's put it on the left side again. On the right side we can see live Archon. Make this a little bit bigger again. And as you can see here, it asked me if it is allowed to use Archon health check in this case. I allow everything here. So it also pulls the rules we set up in the claude.md. Just have to load the other commands. And as you can see, it now created a new project for our application here automatically. We can open it and see the Kanban board now. And we should see soon all the tasks appearing here. So I guess this is the command now for creating the tasks. And as you can see here, it now created 2 tasks. One is already done in review and the other one is in process. So now both are done in review. So you can review them manually and move it to a complete or put them back in progress, comment them and do it again. As you can see, it creates more and more tasks and works on them as well. So maybe one more quick thing here. As you can see, here is also a docs tab. If you go there, you can add documentation here as well. So you can add a template, feature template, and add some stuff here as well. So this is pretty new to me. I didn't see this yet and I didn't test it. I think this was implemented by Rasmus just maybe yesterday or brought it to the project. So as you can see, there are daily new features, new stuff coming to Archon, and you have to pull the latest updates to keep up to date. And that's what I said before. That's the PRP template stuff, architecture and planning. Also can add meeting notes here. So pretty awesome stuff. And you can also add new sources for technical knowledge or business knowledge here. Just add sources here from the sources we indexed before. As you can see, technical knowledge, we got some. And I could add here now the LangChain API reference. I think it should have done this itself when we created the project. I think that's a bug we might have to take a look into, because it should use for sure the LangChain API reference because it was there before we started the project. Or at least it should ask us if we want to add it, if it finds it. Okay, that's everything I wanted to show for the demo part. It was pretty basic, and we can dive deeper in the future if you want. Just let me know in the comments. So what is the future and vision for Archon? So there are a few points which are already known we want to implement in the future, or they are already there, as we have seen with the PHP templates. They were also new for me, but this was one thing. A few other things are the custom rec strategies per project, a full process visualization, and also sub-agents with defined roles. So Archon is in open beta, so I would recommend you check it out yourself, test everything, and let me know in the comments how it works for you, if you need more tutorials, and also report if you have any bugs or features. And if you want to build a real project from start to finish, I would recommend watching the launch party of Archon by Cole on his channel. I will link it here on top. So it's on Saturday, 9 AM Central Time. I don't know if my video is before or after, but anyway, the video is already created and announced, so I can link it and you can watch it at any time. If you'd like to join the Dynamous community, you can use my affiliate link if you want to get 10% discount. You can find it in the description. I would really appreciate to support the channel. And with this, I wish you a very nice day or evening, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.